Hello friends and patrons, welcome to part 1 of my Everyone Can Draw series. This is an experimental series brought to you by the work that we're doing over on at patreon.com/OhNoHenry, Henry with an I. In a recent poll, the patrons mentioned that they might be interested in tutorials and more practical hands-on how-to videos, specifically when it came to drawing, painting and art. This is that first part of that series. If it picks up, if you guys are interested, I'll definitely do more. Let's kick off the series by starting at the very beginning, rectangles and parallelograms. Everybody tells you that to get good at drawing, you have to draw every day, but they don't tell you what to draw. Well, here I am telling you what to draw. Parallelograms, rectangles and squares. It has a height and a width, as is everything that you're ever going to put down on a two-dimensional surface. Once you're comfortable drawing squares and rectangles and parallelograms, you're going to choose something in real life that you're going to draw. And when life gives you lemons, you know what they say, draw them. So I've chosen a pretty easy still life of 3 lemons in a bowl. And now I'm going to get busy drawing them. I know it sounds hypocritical for me to tell you to draw from life and to sketch from life, but to be doing it digitally here. Trust me, this is the best way for me to show you, and this is based on decades of drawing from real life. In fact, when I was learning how to draw, of course, there was no digital programs to speak of. All right, so all we're doing is actually just measuring the height and width of objects, and we're trying to use our brain and our eyes to flatten the forms and objects we see around us, to simplify them to 2 simple dimensions. What is its height and what is its width? And it's not just a size of the objects, but also the negative space. As you can see, I'm highlighting here, there is a space between the objects, and I use that to help me measure out each one of my rectangles. So here I'm going to overlay it on the image so you can see the kind of thinking that I was doing while I was drawing. Everything has got a length and a width, and I imagine that each of these things come in a box from my favorite courier of choice, and I ask myself, what are the dimensions of that box? What is its height? What is its width? And if I can get a good gauge of that height and width, I will begin to sharpen my eye, my brain, and my understanding of the world, and draw things more and more in proportions. And this is critical. This is the underpinning of drawing. If you're not getting your proportions right, nothing will ever look right. You can learn how to shade well, you can learn how to draw beautiful lines, but things will look awkward if you don't understand basic proportions and dimensions. This is the essence. Now, once you have everything in proportions, once you have your boxes, the next step, part 2, is what we're doing here now, which is eating away, cutting away the negative space, removing it. I'm just shading it in to tell you, to kind of show you what you're going to remove from your dimensions and boxes. This is a little bit more technical, of course. It's a little bit harder than just drawing boxes. And I don't recommend that you move on to this point, onto this step, until you have mastered basic proportions by just drawing your rectangles. So quick recap, step 1. Draw rectangles. Sit down with your sketchbook or some scrap paper or a pen and pencil, and then just draw these little mofos. Height and width. Try and flatten the world around you. You're just staring out of your window looking at some cars. Well, if you had to flatten that car into a 2-dimensional shape, what is its height? What is its width? What is the size of the box that comes in? Once you think, and once you've been doing this for a while, and once you think that you've got your eye sharply in, then start cutting away parts of the boxes, what we call the negative shape, and start forming the object. So here now we're moving on to the next step, a step that I will cover in a future video if there is another video. But I just wanted to show you how this understanding of the height and width of objects is the underpinning for the drawing that then follows. Once you have the height and width, once you've been able to flatten a 3-dimensional image in your mind into its simple height and width and remove the negative space, you then have all the information at hand that you need to be able to do a good drawing. And then from here, you'll see I'll just add a little bit of color to give you a nice quick rendering. How long did this take? 2-3 minutes. And I just wanted to show you that that's all you need. When you're doodling, when you have some scrap piece of paper and a pen, there is nothing preventing you from just sitting down and drawing. You do this every day for 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I promise you that within a week or two, you're going to have mastered the basics of drawing. All right, so now we're going to work on another variant of the exercises that we've dealt with today. We're still going to be drawing our boxes, but instead of just using verticals and horizontals to draw our objects, we're going to then find the center line of objects and base the rectangles and parallelograms on those center lines. It's a bit more complicated because you're actually having to deduce vectors, not just vertical and horizontal height and width, but actually having to work out angles as well. So only do this if you're comfortable or you find this easier. But you can see the exercise remains the same. Now, I cannot stress this enough. You have to do this from life. You have to practice drawing from life. Do not do this from flat images. Do not pick something that you see on your screen and just copy it. Because two-dimensional images like photographs already have done the translating of form into shape for you. And the underpinning of drawing is for your brain to be comfortable with doing that translation itself, so that no matter what you're trying to draw, you have an innate understanding of what it would look like as a two-dimensional image. This brings us to the end of part 1 of Everyone Can Draw. If you'd like to see more, if you think I should do another one, please like, subscribe, and comment, and come and join us over at Patreon. Thank you very much.